Hello and welcome to the IT Governance Podcast for Friday the 15th of April. Here are this week's stories. On Thursday the 14th of April, the European Parliament voted to approve the General Data Protection Regulation. The GDPR's long legislative journey is finally over. First proposed in 2012 by the European Commission, the GDPR will unify data protection across the EU, superseding national data protection laws such as the UK's Data Protection Act 1998, or DPA. Among many new obligations under the GDPR, the most significant for companies that do business in the EU is the increase in penalties for non-compliance. Under the UK DPA, for example, the maximum fine for a data breach is £500,000. Under the GDPR, the maximum fine will be €20 million, or 4% of the breached organisation's annual turnover, whichever is the greater. You've now got 2 years and 20 days to comply with the new law, and that ain't long. Make no mistake, Brexit or no Brexit, this could require your company to do a lot of work to comply. If you haven't started preparing already, you really ought to get to work as soon as you can. For more details about the GDPR, have a look at our free data protection information pages on itgovernance.co.uk. The number of Morrisons staff suing their employer following the 2014 data breach, in which 99,998 employees' personal details were leaked, has reached nearly 6,000. The court deadline for joining the group action was the 8th of April 2016. Nick McAleenan of JMW Solicitors, which is representing the group, said, "Whenever employers are given personal details of their staff, they have a duty to look after them. That is especially important given that most companies now gather and manage such material digitally, and as a result, it can be accessed and distributed relatively easily if the information is not protected." Morrisons' internal auditor Andrew Skelton, who developed a grudge against the company after being accused of dealing controlled drugs at work, was jailed for 8 years at Bradford Crown Court last July for leaking the information, which included details of staff salaries, bank details, and national insurance numbers. A spokesman for Morrisons said, "We are contesting this case. We are not accepting liability for the actions of a rogue individual. We can confirm that we are not aware that anybody suffered any financial loss from this breach." As I've discussed in several recent podcasts, ransomware, a form of malware that encrypts users' computer files until they pay a Bitcoin fee for a decryption key, has been in the news a lot this year, as strains including Locky, Maktub, Samas or Samsam or MSIL-B/C, and Petya have spread like wildfire via phishing emails and cyber attacks on poorly secured servers. For once, we have some good news. The Petya ransomware, which has been encrypting hard drives rather than files, having been spread via phishing emails that purport to link to job applicants' CVs stored on Dropbox, has been cracked by a security researcher. Twitter user Leo Stone has created a tool that enables victims of Petya to access their files without having to cough up. Computer forensics expert Lawrence Abrams has put together a guide to using the tool to unlock a Petya encrypted computer in 7 seconds. One small note of caution, however. Not all ransomware is as easy to reverse engineer, and new strains are emerging weekly. The ransomware threat is increasing dramatically at the moment, and businesses need to be proactive to protect themselves. Well, that's it for this week. Until next time, remember that you can keep up to date with the latest information security news on our blog. And whatever your cybersecurity needs, whether regulatory compliance, stakeholder reassurance, or just greater business efficiency, IT Governance can help your organisation to protect, comply, and thrive. Visit our website for more information, itgovernance.co.uk.